Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome as Para-X presents Keeping the Spirits Alive. This is a show that represents a fresh perspective into the world of paranormal investigating and related topics, and how history plays an important role in keeping the spirits alive. This is your co-host, Chip Reichenthal, and while we're preserving history one location at a time, I'm proud to introduce our host, founder of the renowned paranormal investigative team, Glory Haunted Hounds, Mr. John Tobin.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another week of Keeping the Spirits Alive.
Another
here on
exciting Monday.
X.
Yes, on the Para-X. We're so glad to be back with you in a very exciting show tonight. Very excited about
I tell you what, we've got a great show for you tonight. We're going to tell you all about that in just a minute. We've got a very, very special guest again this week.
Yes, we do.
That we're very, very happy to have on with us.
Extremely happy.
And we're going to start off the show like we've done the last few weeks. We got a new segment. We're actually not a new segment, but we've got a segment we're calling Chipisms.
Chipisms.
Where every week Chip's got a little spot, a little thing, that's something that's just rattling around in his brain that he just needs to get off his chest, and then we can go on and have a very good show.
There is a lot of stuff rattling around in there.
There's a lot of rattling around. Every time he shakes his head, it kind of rattles around a little bit.
If you listen carefully in the quiet, you can hear it, actually.
Absolutely. So just in case, just want to mention real quick that our special guest tonight is Mr. Bruce Tango, and he will be on with us in just a few minutes. We're very proud to have Bruce on the show tonight. It's going to be a great one. With that said, we're going to let it go here with a little chipism.
Yeah, and actually having Bruce Tango on with us inspired me for this week's chipism. Since tonight we have someone who is a police officer for the Elizabeth, New Jersey Police Department from 1974 to 1999 and is a fan of the paranormal. I was inspired to do this week's chipism about personal heroes of mine, notwithstanding all those who risk their lives to serve our country and police officers who risk their lives to serve our communities. I've come up with a small list of personal heroes to me, and I just wanted to get it out of my system. First and most influential is my dad, as he is the only man I really know who is a nice guy that finished first. I'm a huge proponent of nice. I don't think there's nearly enough of it, and it makes others nice most of the time as well. So why not have more nice in the world, you know? As Elvis Costello once said, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? I had my mom here as the perfect example of what a good woman is, what good, strong character should be. Next up is the Reverend Tim Shaw, as he is a medium, and I've tried so hard to recapture my abilities as a medium. Yeah, you know, I had a good run a while back where at least I felt as though I was communicating rather well with spirit and developed a tremendous respect for spirit, and am using my co-hosting role here to encourage others, especially in the paranormal community, to think of spirit as persons with a story and a storied past that really should be heard, researched, and respected, rather than evil, unseen forces that only want to jam you up or that are simply there to turn flashlights on and off, and God forbid if they don't do that well enough. The Reverend Tim has been helping send a very positive message regarding spirit and has been so nice to me and mine, and has even made me feel worthy in my search to regain that ability to reconnect. An honorable mention to Heather Severy of Evolve Your Love out of Rutland, Vermont, for actually having me believe that I have rekindled my mediumistic abilities, which was awesome. Perhaps the hero most influential to me nowadays is the man sitting next to me, Mr. John Tobin. John's outlook on paranormal investigation, the importance of proper research and history, and how he really does give back to the field we both have spent years beholden to, is nothing short of phenomenal. John honors the properties that respect their storied past more than anyone I personally know, and he has a personal character that is worthy of a good role model, and he's always been described, as is my father, as nice. There's also some someone new to my list who I have researched over the past week, who at one time may have been our guest today. I'm not mentioning names, as I don't want to jinx a possible future show, but I hope this person is listening. I want to thank the person in question, as they have done amazing, absolutely respect-worthy, amazing things to promote our craft. And I added without hesitation to my list of personal heroes for all you've done, and I so thank you for that. Next up, my current doctor, who's treated me for a 15-year history of horrible recurring pain, first name George, as far as I'm going with that. I credit him for literally saving my life on more than one occasion, as he is a beautiful human being. I suppose I should actor Vincent D'Onofrio, whose Robert Gorin character so personally interested me that I credit him for saving my life, as it gave me hours of distraction from pain. And I have to credit Para X's own Craig Eugene for his outlook as a professional and as a friend, whose brutal honesty provides me a good outline for future behavior. He's someone I look up to. Movie producer Mike Schiabarassi is another good example for me on what a good person is. He has a remarkable background, has remarkable responsibilities, and still lives them out in sweet fashion, helping to promote strong prosperity while being nice. I also have to credit my wife, Terry. She is legally blind, but you'd never know it. She's the prime example of how to live life effectively, regardless of personal struggle. She's made me the man I am today, which is, at least in my mind, something special. My little ego joke that the one woman who thought I was gorgeous enough to marry is, well, blind, only emphasizes the opinion that I do, in fact, have the perfect look for radio. She's also amazingly gifted as an investigator in our paranormal realm, and holds our family together in honorable fashion, and helps me through my rough pain days better than anyone. All these people came to mind because of tonight's guest, and our guest tonight is one of two guys I've wanted to meet for a long time. Him and Steve DeShavie of Dead Files fame are guys that have two most impressive characteristics. They serve their communities as police officers and have an ongoing interest in the paranormal, which, in my mind, leaves that most interesting man in the world guy run for his money. So, without further ado, I'm going to let John introduce tonight's guest.
Thanks, Chip. Wow, you know what? You talk like this, and I always think in midstream about a really funny joke or something, and then you start saying nice stuff about me, and it ruins it. I can't say anything funny. That was really great. No, seriously, Chip just thanked every person he's ever met in his entire life in 4 minutes or less.
Yeah,
pretty good. No, that was great. All joking aside, very nice. Well said, Chip. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. Without further ado, we do want to welcome our special guest this week to Keeping the Spirits Alive. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Bruce Tango. How are you?
All right, guys. How are you?
We are doing just fine. Thanks so much.
I'd just like to say I was listening to Chip, and that was very well said. And, it's always nice to get an opportunity to, very often there's not too many thank yous out there, but the way you came across with that, Chip, was pretty moving. And right, one of my fortes is knowing people, only taking a few minutes to know how people are and what kind of person they are. And I'm really glad I said yes to you guys to come on this show, because I can tell right away that you guys are two special guys, and I'm glad I'm here. And Chip, that was really, really nice.
Oh, thanks, Bruce. That means a lot to me. Really, thank you,
Bruce. Thanks so much for that. We always try to put a nice message in. Chip's been doing a great job of getting those messages in at the beginning of the show, and remembering the people that mean a lot, because sometimes it just goes without saying. And Bruce, that said, you're always welcome here on Keeping the Spirits Alive. We've been a big fan of yours for a long time. So.
Yeah, very excited that you're with us. Very excited.
So let me just start, Bruce, by mentioning a couple things. As Chip mentioned before, you are a retired police officer from Elizabeth, New Jersey. Youngest member ever to join the force at the age of 19. And in 25-plus years on the force, you were involved in many aspects of law enforcement, including SWAT, which is, special forces. You can tell us a little bit more about that in a moment. Chip had a very interesting question he's going to bring up later about investigating and being a police officer. So I wanted to just ask you to start off, first of all, just to tell anybody out there who might not know who you are, and there's maybe one or two out there, but probably not, but just give them a little bit of a background about, besides what I just mentioned there, who Bruce Tango is, and kind of how you got started in the paranormal, I guess.
Well, whenever I speak now, or in the past years when I do presentations, I always tell everybody I used to be known as Bruce Tango, but I'm better known as Dave Tango's dad. And I'm very proud of that fact. And, you know, I don't say that facetiously. I mean that wholeheartedly. I'm very proud of my son. You know, he's one of the stars of Ghost Hunters on the Sci-Fi Channel. And at one point, they actually asked me with my background and to come on the show, and I actually told him no, but my son called me and said, Dad, you got to do this. So I've done a bunch of episodes. I hope to do some more soon. And
good.
It's like I'm like a kid in a candy store, and you know. But that's you've seen me, you know, a few times on the show doing investigations with my son.
You come across good on camera. You're very likable too, so we appreciate that. Well,
thank you for that. I try to be that way. You know, John Wayne used to say, I'm a big John Wayne fan, but he says, you be nice until it's time not to be nice. You know, so,
yeah, he was good at that.
You know, I enjoy, you know, what I do. I enjoy people for, you know, the whole part. You know, obviously I've seen a lot of bad things in my time, and a lot of things that left a bad taste in my mouth. But I usually, you know, give people the benefit of the doubt. But as nice you might think that I am, I could get just as nasty. But I try not to be like that, because that really doesn't get you anywhere.
That's true. And so, hey, Bruce, how old were you when you first started to investigate the paranormal? I guess I should ask you, how did you start getting interested in the paranormal? Is there a particular experience that you had that that made you interested in the paranormal?
Yes. It actually happened when I was very, very young, about 5, 6 years old.
Wow.
And with that happening to me, and that's probably one of the scariest things that's happened to me, and it's just recent, maybe in the past 5 years, I've really been able to grasp actually what has happened to me. But you know, but I've been investigating actually when I was, you know, actually, you got to realize we didn't have the computers, we didn't have the programs that we had back then, you know. But when I was around 15, 16 years old, I spent a lot of time in a library. You know, we like I said, we didn't have the computers, but I did a lot of time. All I read was hauntings, spirits, ghosts, a lot about Houdini and how he used to debunk, go to these seances, everything. And obviously that, you know, after I got older and I had children, I'd always carried over to my sons. I have 2 boys, David, and my oldest son is John, and he's a police officer.
Nice.
But you know, that experience, and I started going probably when I was about 15, 16, you know, and I only had my eyes, ears, and nose because I really couldn't afford any instruments. The first thing I think I was able to sneak out of the closet that usually just would come out on special occasions like birthdays and holidays was the old, you know, cameras, the instant you know, the shots would come right out of the camera right away. But that was the first thing. But it was just more or less abandoned homes, cemeteries, and such. And you know, I would try to. My problem back then was trying to get somebody to go with me. You know, and it wasn't too often, to be honest. But I always had an interest ever since I was a little boy.
It's hard being the only brave kid in the neighborhood, I'm sure.
Bruce, I'm guessing that you're probably not having that problem today. If if you asked someone if they wanted to go out ghost hunting with you, you probably wouldn't have that much trouble.
No, I don't think so. I'm asked all the time. I wish I had time to go with everybody, but unfortunately I have to turn a lot of people down. But you know, it is a very interesting field, and it's a remarkable field, to be honest with you. And you know, like it's so terrific. I mean, the way my son got involved with the show, and then the way things just took off, and it changed his life, and it changed mine, and mine more or less because, like I said, I'm a kid in a candy store. I'm doing things now at the age of 58 that I would have never done if the road didn't go down this path, So it's pretty cool. It really is.
I have to say, good things happen to good people, Bruce, and you're proof of that. And certainly Dave is too. And you can just tell his character just by watching him on the show. And I'm sure it comes from the way he was brought up. So
he comes by it honestly.
Absolutely.
Well, not because he's my son, but honestly, everybody tells me how great you know what, guys? My son is a great person. He is a very respectful, loving person, trusting person. Sometimes too much, but he's learning. He's actually grown up on the show, and what is he? 27 now, and he's been on the show for like 7-8 years. So,
wow.
He was the baby. He still is the baby of the show, but he's grown up with these guys. They really have taken him, and they treat him like they are like family, and they are family to me. But my son is a terrific human being, and I'm very, very proud of him, as I am my oldest son too.
And they grow up so fast, It seems like just yesterday, they were like you had to hold their neck up just so they could sit up, because they were so little.
I tell you that is so true, and I say that to everybody. That I always say, I said, listen, enjoy them when they're young,
right? Because
they grow up so fast,
right?
And I would give anything to go back in time sometimes just to be with them when they were little.
Yep.
My sons and I are very, very close. We've always been that way. It's actually, it was harder for me when my oldest son went away to college. Like how most mothers are.
Yep.
Well, my ex-wife, who's a great person, she was fine with it. I was a nervous wreck when my son went to college.
So let me ask you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. I just usually the moms, but I was devastated when my son left.
Yeah, it kind of puts the dot at the end of the sentence. Yeah, it's like that's it. They're out of the nest now. And
so let me ask you this, Bruce, because it's come up in my life a few times. Now, your son investigating the paranormal. He said he got to start investigating with you. How old was Dave? And when he started investigating with you, I know you were investigating, and then at what age did you decide to start bringing him with you, or going with him, I should say?
Well, to be totally honest, I never really took him. Well, when I became a police officer, I actually had a buddy of mine. He was a sergeant when I first got on, and he had the same interest. So we did things together. My boys were a little bit too young to do things, and it wasn't as popular, as it is now. Obviously, back in the 70s and 80s. So, I really didn't do that, but we always had an interest. I mean, whenever there was a program on, we would watch it together. The questions were always there. I knew my sons had an interest in it. I would tell them about some of the things that would happen to me. But to be honest, I never really took David or my other son on an investigation. Like when I did when I was young, obviously my kids weren't around when I was 16 years old. We always talked about things, and I would have a couple buddies. And to be totally honest, not too many people knew I was doing it, except for a couple close friends that still, go with me to check out places. What I do many times is go look at locations for possible suggestions for the guys to do an episode at. And I usually bring the same guy that I worked with and had the same interest, as I said, many years ago. His name is Rich Valesco, and a very close friend of mine, and has a deep interest in the paranormal as I do. But now I get a chance to be with my son. He shows me what he knows, and I'm so proud of him. Because believe me, he knows a lot.
I think we're all.
Whenever I have a question, I have some really good people that I could call, and first being my son.
Yeah, I listened to your story, and it's so ironic that you'd try to watch some good paranormal TV with your boys when the best show really started with two plumbers out of Pennsylvania, and one of your boys ended up on that show, which really changed the whole game altogether. It's kind of an irony there.
It is crazy. I'll just bring this up. I find, and I think it's a sad thing, but just to mention it, I see a lot of jealousy in this business, and there's really no need for it. There really isn't. I mean, these guys were into, Tax was doing the paranormal investigations long before the show came along. And, I know groups that get on the computer after every episode and critique what they saw on the show. And, we did this wrong, they did that wrong. And that bothers me because, you know what? We could critique any investigation. We all make mistakes. Nobody says we're perfect. We don't pretend to be perfect. They don't pretend to be perfect. But, you know what? What I would say to some of these people that are nasty and just haters is that they wouldn't even be talking if it wasn't for these guys.
That's true.
Because even if you don't like them, even if you don't like the show, they did bring this to the forefront, this paranormal field, where you have families and groups that are gathering at least once a week or once every 2 weeks, getting together and doing investigations, which I think is pretty cool.
Absolutely, and I must say that we wouldn't be sitting where we are right now if it wasn't for what Jason and Grant and Ghost Hunters and Taps and the whole nine have done. I mean, it really, I've had a lot of influences in the paranormal, and that's they're right up there at the top. So I definitely.
Let me tell you, whatever faults we may have, these people are close. Jay, Grant, and everybody, Steve, everybody's here. They're top-notch people. They are good people. They care about each other. And listen, everybody's going to make mistakes. We're going to do things that people don't like. We're going to do things that people do like.
Right.
But we do it the way we do it. They don't ask anybody to do it their way. It's just the way they do it. And they were lucky to be asked to do a show. And you know what? Instead of hating them or having problems with them or trying to critique and pick on them, just be glad for them. Because maybe one day somebody else out there, they'll have a show too, because there are other shows, and I watch them. I've met many people in this field and on other shows, and I always extend my hand and tell them that I enjoy it, and everybody does things different. But it's just a little bit too much hate out there, and there's no reason for it.
There's a lot of hate out there in the paranormal world and just the world in general. And what it really comes down to, Bruce, and I think you'll agree with me on this, is that if everyone feels they need to be a critic, and a lot of people out there are just jealous. It really what it comes down to, because they're not thinking of the stuff first, and they're it's a jealousy thing. So I think everybody.
Yeah, these guys have earned our respect.
Yeah, absolutely, and that you'll never hear that coming from us here.
Never.
They are number one, and I like all those guys quite a bit. Hey, so let's just mention something that's really cool that you've got coming up soon. You've got a investigation event coming up with your son and a bunch of other folks who we'll mention here at the Hillview Manor in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, coming up on October 20th.
Looks cool.
Just before Halloween.
Yep, October 20th.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I was there a few years back. It's right outside Pittsburgh. I think it's in Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a thing there with ParaX. My buddy Dave Jones was there doing a show, and he's a great guy, by the way. And,
oh yeah, awesome.
I'm gonna be there. My son Dave, Steve, Chris Williams is going to be there, and Dustin.
Yeah, that's a great group.
I just got to tell you that when I was there the last time, I got some great EVPs. In fact, when we did a walkthrough during the day, and the guy that actually owned the place at the time says, "Bruce, come on, I'm going to go get an EVP for you." And this is the first time I met the guy, and I said, "Well, what's he talking about?" He's like, "He could get it." He took me to a room. Long story short, he took me to a room, and he started asking questions, maybe for a minute, and then he played it back, and darn if we didn't get answers, direct answers to the questions. It was like, at will. You could get EVPs at will. And then another cool thing, we went down into the basement. Now you got to understand, the Hillview Manor is a geriatric hospital, or used to be. And as old people do, sometimes they pass away. And the basement is full of furniture and belongings to the deceased. And we did the same thing down there for about a couple minutes. We did an EVP session. He played it back, and darn if we didn't get answers. So let me tell you, this is a really, really cool place. And just to plug it a little bit, I think there's a few tickets, some tickets left. So please do yourself a favor, if anybody in the Pennsy area or in the surrounding states, if you can get over there, I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
And you get to meet my son, Steve, pretty Chris Williams and Dustin.
Absolutely.
So, it's going to be a good time, I guarantee.
Absolutely, and that is October 20th, and it's if you want to get tickets or get more information, you can go to www.idealeventmanage.com. Ideal Event Management always putting on the top premier paranormal events. This is certainly going to be a fantastic event.
It looks completely cool.
I talked to Mark today, and he did mention to me there were a few tickets left, but not a lot, so definitely not something you're going to want to wait on. Get your tickets today.
While they last.
.idealeventmanage.com. Well worth it, and just a great location. This place is, tremendous history. We like to talk a lot about history on keeping the spirits alive, and what people can do to help preserve some of these great locations. Hillview is one of these great places that allows folks to go in and do these paranormal investigations and these types of events, and it's a great location. And to bring all you guys in one place like this, it's going to be a fantastic event. And I've heard some of the history that this place started off in 1925 as the Lawrence County Poor Farm, I believe. And it's been several things throughout the years, but a poor farm and a asylum are kind of in one and the same back in the day. They sort of went hand in hand, I guess I should say.
They kind of did.
So just to go with the kind of history that you can get in hauntings and EVPs and such at a location like that, the energy levels have got to be like out of this world, I would imagine. Really,
it's a fantastic place. And, Mark, our agent, Mark Tetlow, he always puts on to some great events. Believe me, he's one of the best, and if not the best in this business. Does a great job, and, he takes care of the people and everything, and he gives 100% of these things. So,
absolutely.
But this, I'm telling you, if you guys want to have a good time and, maybe get some thrills, this is a very active place. So, like you guys said, grab those tickets soon because they're actually going to be gone.
Yeah, this will definitely sell out, and there is not that far from that right now. So we're talking over a month away still, and there are only a few tickets left. So if you're thinking about going, we're right before Halloween. The activity around this time of the year just spikes in the paranormal, for various reasons. I would say definitely scoop that up. And
in that location with that group of people, you can't go wrong.
Absolutely not. And I also want to mention, if you guys have any questions for Bruce, we do have a call-in phone number tonight.
Call-in line.
518-300-3619. Again, that's 518-300-3619. And we also are taking questions in the chat room if anybody has any. My friend Chip here is monitoring the chat room.
Yes. Actually, though, there's a couple, but mine is the most burning of all. And I want to go back to your when you were a police officer in Elizabeth, New Jersey for a little better than 25 years. It really begs the question that is on everyone's mind, Jets or Giants?
I'm a Jets fan.
Aha, okay.
Boy, Chip, he always comes up with the top-notch questions.
I go back to, Joe Namath.
Oh, sure, with the guarantee.
Oh, yeah, and, he brought us home a Super Bowl, and I'm happy the way they started yesterday.
Oh,
so,
how about that,
I'm excited,
man.
But we'll see what happens.
Oh, so that makes him a second question then. Sanchez or Tebow?
Ooh. I didn't see that coming. I've already lost the first bet, you know.
Well, Chip's a Giants fan.
Repeat that one more time.
I said, the second was Sanchez or Tebow?
With this
I'm going to hold off answering that, and if you talk to me in a month, I'll let you know.
Don't want to jinx anything, right?
I wish them both well, and actually, I think the way they're using them now is a pretty good idea. I think Sanchez did get stronger with his passing, and I think you got to give him a shot. But Tebow is some athlete, and the way they're going to use him, I think they're doing a great job right now. I hope they continue, but we shall see.
And we shall see.
All right, Bruce, we're going to actually take a really short break right now. We'll be back with you in just about a minute or two. If you don't mind holding on for just a second, we will be right back with more Keeping the Spirits Alive.
With Bruce Tango.
Whether you need help putting together your event, looking for a celebrity, or just want to pump up the excitement, look no further than Ideal Event Management. Ideal Event Management is a top-rated paranormal events organizer. They also represent some of the biggest names and personalities in the paranormal community. Contact Mark at 413-478-3642 or check out their website at idealeventmanagement.com. Whether you're listening at home, at work, or anywhere, thanks for making Para-X part of your day. Your source for everything paranormal. Para-X.
Syracuse. The Northeast premier horror and sci-fi fan convention returns to Central New York September 13th through the 16th at Turning Stone Resort and Casino, featuring dozens of celebrity guests, vendors, lectures, panel discussions, VIP parties, Saturday night zombie party, and more. Scheduled to appear are celebrities from the Sci-Fi Channel's The Ghost Hunters, stars from classic sci-fi and horror movies, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Planet of the Apes, The Zombie Classic, Night of the Living Dead, Saw, Star Trek, TV's The Walking Dead, Hostel, Insidious, Phantasm, and more. Syracuse also features the Syracuse Horror, Sci-Fi, and Fantasy Film Festival, including world premieres of Please Talk With Me and The Black Dahlia Haunting. For the latest information, visit the website today at scare-a-cuse.net. Advance purchase discounts available for a limited time.
Hey, and with that, welcome back to Keeping the Spirits Alive. That was our brief little break. Dave,
Dave
Syracuse
called you by your son's
son's name.
like
Bruce
fun. I just hope I don't run into the cat that was in that Syracuse program.
Syracuse is going to be awesome. I will mention.
Really angry.
I will mention that Glory Haunt Hounds, our group, will be there.
Yes, we will. Yes,
we'll be there. We're going to be representing
Syracuse.
Glory Haunt and Para-X, so you'll see us wandering around and talking with some of the crew that's out there. It's going to be a great, great event. We're very much looking forward to that.
I'll be the guy with the biggest smile and the perfect face for radio.
And I'll be the guy trying to get Chip to stop talking. No,
That's right. That's hard to do.
Hey, Bruce, welcome back.
Yes.
Chip actually has a question we talked about before the show that I thought was awesome, so he's going to ask you that now.
It's another burning question, and well, you probably are not going to expect this one, but I'm reminded of a Martin Scorsese movie called Bringing Out Your Dead, which Nicolas Cage and John Goodman. It was actually in Jennifer Lopez's husband there had his acting
Mark
debut.
Anthony.
Mark Anthony has an acting debut.
Not the psychic lawyer guy.
No, the different one. But in the movie, it was about a couple of paramedics. They're a little burnt out, but nonetheless, some of the patients that they lost en route to the hospital, I'm talking about lives, they seem to be haunted by the images of those that they lost. And so my question, while not too creepy, but throughout your career as a police officer, were there any cases of persons that passed in front of you or on your shift or anything, any of their ghosts haunt you, either figuratively or literally?
Well, you touched on a subject that I don't talk about very often, but it's the answer is yes. But long story short, and I'm trying to think. In 1977, I was involved in one of the worst residential fires in the history of Elizabeth, where 7 children died and their grandmother. And excuse the pun, that's not a pun, but that incident haunts me to this day. It caused me a lot of problems. It still does, something I never forgot. But I was actually given my last rites on that day, and actually woke up with the priest giving me my last rites. And it was unfortunate that these young children died, and the grandmother. Actually, at one point when I was crawling in one of the apartments, I crawled right past one of the little babies that were already dead, but I didn't know that until later on. It's a story I don't talk about too often, but actually, you know, what's ironic is in a couple of days it'll be an anniversary for that event.
Wow.
So,
well, I'm sorry to bring that up, but I am reminded.
No, that's okay. I have to deal with it, and you know, I'm sort of happy I talked about it without breaking down, because a lot of times even though it was a long time ago, it's something obviously, guys, I'm never going to forget, and it was probably the hardest thing that I still deal with it, that I've ever had to deal with, you know, since in my whole life. So.
Again, I'm sorry to bring that up, but I'm reminded that I am compelled to again thank you for your service to the state of New Jersey and the community of Elizabeth. And
Bruce, thanks so much for actually sharing that with us. I know that you know that's not easy to talk about, so I really do appreciate you sharing that story.
No problem, and thank you for thanking me. It's just you know, being a police officer, you know, was quite an experience. You know, Elizabeth is one of the bigger cities in New Jersey, and I've made some great friendships, and obviously a lot of memories, and probably my stories as a police officer probably as interesting as some of my paranormal incidents, you know, that have happened to me. I mean, I've been told by many people I should write a book, which I probably will do one of these days, and I just have to figure out how I'm going to talk about both and interchange, or how I'm going to go about it. But I've had a lot happen to me in my career as a police officer, and I've had a lot of close calls, and obviously I've had a lot of things happen. I'm like a ghost magnet, so a lot of paranormal things have happened, you know, that during my life also.
Well, I'd like to see that book. That sounds like a potentially phenomenal idea.
Hey, Bruce, we have a call coming in. I think I know who this is. Do you mind if we take a call?
Well, see if I owe him money. If I owe him money, I don't want to talk to anybody here.
I don't think that you do. Hey, caller in 518 area code. Let me guess who this is.
Take a guess.
Oh, it's Mrs. Chip.
That's my wife. Hi, honey.
Hey, Mrs.
I
Chip.
have a question.
How are you? Sure.
Yep.
Because his oldest son is a police officer now. Is he more worried about his son now because of the way people are today?
Ooh, good question, darling.
That's a good. What's your wife's first name?
That's Terry.
Yep.
I'm Terry.
Hi, Terry. Nice to meet you. That's a very good question. You know, like I said, I'm very close to my son, and to be honest with you, both of my boys wanted to become police officers, but with everything that was happening to me, and that did happen to me, I did not want that type of life for either one of my sons.
Yeah.
Now, you know the way Dave went, but my oldest decided to do it, and obviously I did back him up and support him, but I didn't want him to do it. But I'm very proud of him. Just recently, he became a sergeant. He took the test. He came out number 1. He's in a smaller town. It's in Westfield, New Jersey. His name is John Tango, and I worry about him every day. But that's just being a father. And even though it's a small town, it's just a shame that nowadays, if you wear that uniform, you just have to be careful. And I always tell my son, I tell him every day, you know, don't get don't get lazy, don't get lax. He says, just be careful. And he says, I will, Dad. So I always, because once you're on a while, you sort of, get a little complacent. You can't do that nowadays.
It's kind of like that Hill Street Blues thing when the guy says, "Be careful out there," at the end of every shift beginning.
Yeah.
Terry, thanks so much.
I told him when he first became a cop, I sort of embarrassed him. I said, I'm going to have to follow you around now. Make sure you're okay. Yeah, come on, Dad. But my son is a good guy, and he can take care of himself. He actually's had some close calls also. I remember, I think it was like the first or second month he was on, he stopped a car, and there was 4 individuals in the car and a baby. And long story short, he said, Dad, I just felt something was wrong. Sure enough, it was wrong because, found out that under the baby they had a loaded weapon. So they were bad guys.
It's good he's got that intuition, though, that gut feeling.
Getting right under the baby on the seat.
That's horrible. Well, thank you for answering my question, and you actually brought a tear to my eye. So,
Terry, thanks so much for calling in. That's a great question.
Nice talking to you, and you stay well.
Okay, thank you. You too. Bye.
That's excellent. Hey, Bruce, we also have a question from our chat room. One of our listeners from my friends at Chaotic Paranormal wanted to know, what is the scariest, or for lack of a better term, most frightening paranormal investigation you've been on, or what investigation have you been on that was the most, nerve-wracking, I guess is the best way to put it? Because we know a guy like Bruce Tango isn't going to get scared.
No, I haven't been scared. I mean, you sort of get, don't get me wrong, if somebody jumped out at me, from behind the door, I'm going to jump like a normal person. but as far as being
Chip in the
scared, I haven't been scared. What was really cool one time, I'll tell you that this has to do with a disembodied voice. I appear, we actually did an episode at the Proprietary House in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. And usually in October I do an appearance there. I don't know if I'm going to be there this October. But it was last year, we broke down, and I like to do EVP sessions. And just to shorten the story, I had this young lady there. She must have been about 11 years old. She came with her father. Her father said she was fine with this. And her father happened to be a funeral director, and he told me some cool stories. He said, Bruce, I can't tell anybody because I'll ruin my business. But getting back to the story, I sat by the bottom of the stairway, and she stood in front of the stairs. And I had about 12 people around me, and we were doing an EVP session, like I said, and everybody was asking questions. But then I noticed that when this young girl would ask a question, I thought for sure I was getting responses. So what I did is I asked everybody to be quiet. I whispered in the little girl's ear, and there's a little spirit that's supposed to be there, a little boy in blue, that was actually thrown out of the 3rd floor by his uncle and died many, many years ago. He wears them short knicker pants and the short vest, and he's always seen playing with a ball. So what I did is I asked the young lady, I whispered in the ear, I said, ask the little boy if he wants to go out and play ball with you. She did so, and guys, I kid you not, as clear as you hear me talking, you can hear him from the top of the stairs. Nobody was there, obviously, but you can hear him giggling and laughing for a good 7-8 seconds.
Wow.
And believe me, there was a couple of guys there that were really big guys. They were knocking each other out of the way to get to the door. I had some ladies crying. A lot of people were wanting to leave. I was trying to calm them down, but it was one of the coolest disembodied voices that I've ever experienced in my life. Not only was it loud, it was long. And 8 seconds, is a long time. You could hear the boy laughing and giggling.
Yeah, that's
and if you watch the episode, Dave and I, when we did the episode, actually, Dave and I were downstairs in the basement, and I asked the question, "Are you afraid of us?" And we got a distinct no. If you watched that episode, that was pretty cool. The proprietary house is where William Franklin, our last royal governor of New Jersey, was. That was Benjamin Franklin's illegitimate son. Oh. And Benjamin was there quite a bit also. Very cool place. Lots happening there. But that was different. That's I really never get scared or it's people ask me, "Are you afraid?" I said, "No, it's the people that are living that you're going to be afraid of."
That's true. Chip scares the heck out of me. So
I do, and I talk for longer than 8 seconds too. And
that's
that
right. But 8 seconds.
I can get going to it once. I like to.
Eight seconds in the paranormal world, though, Bruce, as you know from doing these investigations, that's an eternity. For a disembodied voice. That's a long time.
That's amazing.
It was just giggling. It was like nobody. What's unnerving is that you hear it. It's right in front of you. But there's nobody there. I mean, there was guys knocking each other out of the way to get to the door. A lot of the ladies were crying, and I'm trying to say, "Listen, this is nothing bad here. This is what you're looking for. You just experienced something that most people will never experience in their lifetime. You should embrace it a little bit."
Absolutely.
And it was really cool. I mean, for that long, for him laughing and giggling. And you know what? That little girl stood there, and she was fine with it. She was just fine. She was probably the bravest out of the whole crew.
These kids are resilient like that, in that way.
Yeah.
Now that stands out as certainly an awesome experience. But do you have a favorite location that you like to investigate? Like one place that you get really excited about when it comes up?
Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Hillview again. The proprietary house is really cool. The Southern Mansion in Cape May, New Jersey was a really, really. I usually appear there during the summer times on the weekends if I'm not anywhere else, and I've had so many experiences there. Being touched. Grabbed 2 times, and the shadow figures. This past summer, I think I appeared down there 8 times, and I actually got some great EVPs. In past summers, it would be hit and miss. 1 week it would be good, next week, but it was. I don't know why they're not doing any work on a place. Maybe the spirits are getting used to me, whatever. But when we played back our half-hour session, when we asked a question, "Is there anybody here with us?" And one of the main spirits that's supposed to be there is Esther. And when you heard her say Esther, that was pretty cool.
Wow.
There was one guy that brought a flashlight and did the flashlight session. I don't know if I'm into that or not, but I've tried it many times. But he was asking during our EVP session, would you please make the light go on and this and that? And when we were recording, nothing happened. When we played it back, you could hear the gentleman say, would you please turn the light on for us, the flashlight on? And then you hear in the recording when we played it back, you could hear as clear as you hear me. Come on now, stop. He would say, this song, and we had a whistler. We had a disembodied whistler all the time, and we had such great activity this summer. I was very, very pleased.
That's good stuff.
But and I've been to other places that are pretty exciting, and obviously I've been to some homes where on a private deals that were pretty cool, but I really can't talk about them. But I've had many, many experiences in my time.
That's very cool. Let's take a second again to talk again about the event you have coming up October 20th at Hillview Manor, the Haunted Hillview Manor in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, which you said is about an hour from Pittsburgh in that area, I think? Maybe north?
Yeah, it's not too far from Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's in Newcastle, PA.
Yep, and that's with yourself as well as Steve and your son Dave, Steve Gonzalez and Dave from Ghost Hunters, Dustin Perry, and the beautiful Chris Williams, who I had the pleasure of meeting a few months back. And that's going to be just a fantastic event, a big place. There are a few tickets left, but not many, so don't wait on that. To get tickets and more information, you'll want to go to www.idealeventmanage.com. That's idealeventmanage.com to get your tickets for that. That's going to be an awesome event coming up here in just a little over a month away.
Mm-hmm.
We did have a caller that called in a minute ago, but unfortunately we were talking. So if you want to call back, please do so, and we'll get you on the air to ask your question of Bruce. I'm sure he'd love to take the call. We've got probably 5 minutes or so left here, so you have time to call in and ask Bruce your question. In the interim, Chipper over here does have a question for you.
Yeah, from the chat room. It's past my purview, so I'm gonna word it a little differently. When you were on the job as an officer, did you ever come across something that may have looked like a crime but had a hint of paranormal instead? For example, property that was thought of as stolen but may have been the work of a tricky spirit. That is a chat room question.
Well, I've had experiences as a police officer. Mm-hmm. Long story short, my partner Elizabeth was a pretty busy town. We didn't get too much time to do as we please. It's usually one call after the other. But this one particular night, we were on the border of Elizabeth and Hillside, New Jersey. Now, in Hillside, New Jersey, there's a cemetery there where Stephen Crane, the author of Red Beds of Carrots, is buried.
All right.
And I actually was going to look, for it. And my partner stood in the car, and I'm going to shorten the story real quick because I know you don't have much time. I was walking around, and I was on the path, and I kid you not, somebody came to the back of me and whispered in my ear, "Why are you here?" Wow. And I, when something like that happens, you look, and obviously this is like 4 o'clock in the morning, you look and there's nobody there because the first thing to say, my partner's messing around with me. But then I look down, he's like, 50 yards away, sitting in a radio car because this particular guy wasn't into it like I was. So now I'm thinking, is there anybody hiding behind a tree? Maybe it was, a derelict that was, behind one of the, grave markings. When I looked around, I couldn't find anything. So I actually went back to the car, and my partner says, "What's the matter?" I told him, so he said, "Let's get the hell out of here." So,
yeah.
But that's actually very true, and it was a cool experience. I didn't expect it, and it's just one of those things I can't figure out. But definitely heard the voice. So.
So that's definitely a unique experience on the job there. And when that happened, were you already investigating the paranormal, or was that something that?
Oh yes, I always,
okay.
Like I said, always had an interest in it, and
from age 5.
And I actually told my buddy that who was then became a lieutenant at the time, and he went back with me one time, but during the course of the evening. One time, but nothing ever really happened. Went to the same location, and again, nothing happened. So, like I said, they don't come out on call. They do what they want to do, just like we do.
Wow, yeah, that's true, absolutely true. Bruce, I want to thank you so much for joining us this week. What a great time we had talking to you.
Talk about time flying by.
I can't believe it now. We could talk to you for another 2 or 3 hours, and it'd be great.
Well, just whenever you want. Guys, give me a little heads up. I'll be glad to come back on and we can talk some more. You guys are fantastic hosts, and it was a pleasure being on the show.
Thanks so much, Bruce. Everybody, don't
honor
forget
for us.
Get your tickets for Bruce at the Haunted Hillview Manor at iemanage.com.
October 20th.
October 20th. And Bruce, thanks so much. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
Have a great night now.
Yeah, have a great night,
Bye
Bruce.
now.
Thank you so much.
Wow, what a good guest. That's excellent.
Awesome dude.
Great guy. Very, very happy to have him on, and we'll definitely have him on again. So
I
I'll just make a couple quick messages. We've got a couple minutes left, and we're going to cut off the Awesome Shadows is up next, followed by Dark Sun Rising? Eric B., the great Eric B., and Through Blue Topaz after that. So the Monday night Para X continues. Great shows coming up. Want One thing I will just mention real quickly so I don't forget, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that tomorrow is 9/11, and that we did have the great Bruce Tango on, who served our country as a policeman for many, many years, 25-plus years.
And we salute him for that.
We salute him for that, and we salute all the men and women in all types of uniforms, police, fire, the military, and anybody that served our country. We thank you very much for your service, and certainly remember you every day. Tomorrow just has a little special place in our heart. When we do close off the show, I have a little thing that I normally wouldn't play, brief little thing that I want to play in honor of the folks who have lost their lives on 9/11, and you never will be forgotten. That said, we don't want to end on too low a note, so I just will mention a couple of events that Glory Hunt Hounds have coming up as well. We have a great event coming up that we just announced on October 27th, so right before Halloween. We're going to let you know if the Irish Mist Bar and Grill in Troy, New York is haunted or not. If you want to find out whether it's haunted, we're going to be doing a dinner, buffet, dessert, and public reveal of our evidence. Plus, this is something that you don't get to get ever, is a tour of the haunted spots in the Irish Mist, which is the 4 floors upstairs.
We'll have stories. Man.
Yeah, we definitely have stories. We've investigated there now a couple times, and the evidence that we've gotten so far is very compelling. I'm not going to tell you whether or not I think it's haunted or not. You're going to have to come up for that.
Yeah.
But
that is, though, the place where I lost my valued tape recorder.
You did lose your valued tape recorder there.
Radio
that could have been normal and or paranormal.
Yeah.
That's October 27th at 7 o'clock. It's only $18. That includes your dinner. I'm from Mexico now. Your dinner buffet, your dessert, and the public reveal, evidence, and tour. So for more information on that, you can see gloryhunthounds.com. Tickets are available there. Tickets are available also on our meetup site and Eventbrite. But you'll get the link if you go to www.gloryhunthounds.com. October 27th, that's going to be a great time. If you can join us, we'd love for you to do that.
Yeah, it's just a cool place. Really a cool place.
And then we had another event that actually is October 20th. That's our fundraiser for the Saratoga County Historical Society. Chip's got some information there.
Yeah, and honoring good people, because we like to focus on history here on our show, and bringing some coolness back to the field of history by tying it into paranormal research and related events. And these wonderful people, the Saratoga County historians, are going to allow us to have some fun at the Brookside Museum, the Ghosts and Legends of Saratoga County and Beyond. It's a fundraising event for the Saratoga County Historical Society, and they deserve it. They're great people. Speaking of heroes, the Reverend Tim Shaw is going to be there with us. And he'll have some chilling tales of some New York State haunts, some of the WNY stuff, I'm sure. That's code for Western New York here in the Empire State. A presentation of Ghosts and Legends of Saratoga County and Beyond by Glory Hunt Hounds, which is basically us, John and I and Terry and Kathy and the gang. Spooky storytelling from the magnificent horror author Miranda Dorfler. And tickets, $10. You can purchase them online on the gloryhunthounds.com site. Look for it there.
Hey, and that said, it has been a great week again. Thanks again to Bruce Tango for joining us this week.
Great guest. Great
Next week, we're honored to have the Reverend Tim Shaw as our guest.
That's going to be cool.
That's going to be great.
Yes.
And we're going to close with just something very brief that I'm going to play for you guys. And thanks so much for joining us on Keeping the Spirits Alive.
We love having you all along.
And always remember, never forget.